Hello, everyone. This is John Thornton with Bookkeeper SA, doing a quick and dirty franchise analysis of Blaze Pizza using the franchise disclosure document dated April 18th, 2024. What we do here in these analyses is pretty simple. I want to see if the median franchise can pay you a decent rate of return on your investment into doing this. Effectively, the idea I'm looking at here is what's the opportunity cost of opening this franchise. And the opportunity cost, of course, is all the other things you can do in an investment. So I want to see if you can just earn a 10% investment, which is about the same as the Dow Jones Industrial Average has earned over the past 30 years, the past 60 years, since 2025 or when it started being tracked. So it's earned an average of 10%. That's what you get for just sitting on the couch and watching TV and letting your money work for you. So what we do here first is just put together a quick and simple spreadsheet here. Your initial franchise investment, which comes from item 7 in your FDD, is $842,000. We would take that 842 and effectively I'll just take the low here, add it to the high, divide by 2, and it comes to $842,000. Now let's assume that you add your $200 a month in technology fees to that and you have it grow for 10 years. That means at the end of the 10-year period, your investment should grow to at least $2,320,839 if it compounds monthly at 10% rate of return, which is, like I said, your Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, if you're doing better than that, if you're like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett and you're doing 20%, then you got to get this to $6.1 million. And that means either you pull out $6 million in cash or the value of your franchise to location gets up to $6.1 million or some combination of the two. So I kind of keep it simple here. I just assume that you're just going to pull cash out of this thing. So on your $866,000 initial investment, if you're earning 10%, that means you need about $1.4 million, $1.5 million in profit over that 10 years, which means that you're pulling out about $145,000 a year out of your restaurant in order to get that rate of return. And I'm assuming that you can sell this thing for $866,000, which is the amount of money you put into it. All right, so if you want that 20% return after you get your money back, you're going to need $5,330,000 to get that 20% return, which means you're going to pull out over $500,000 a year. Now, next question I ask is, can this franchise do this? So that's hard to figure out. We can kind of get an idea here if we go to item 19 and I look for the median franchise revenues. Now, in Blaze Pizza, on the franchise disclosure, they actually have two sets of restaurants. They have traditional location and mall storefront location. They have their median franchise as 1.208 for your traditional, and your mall, you're at $1.316 million. I went ahead and just averaged it out to $1,250,000. Now I'll look for that median guy because I don't want to assume that I'm doing the best. I don't want to assume that I'm doing the worst. If I just buy a typical Blaze Pizza franchise, what should I reasonably expect? And according to the numbers, 1.25 million, 50% of their franchises have more than that, 50% have less. So then what I do is I calculate out what I gotta pay the franchisee or the franchisor. So they have a royalty percentage of 5%. They have a marketing creative fund contribution of 2% of your gross revenues, a local advertising requirement of a minimum of 2%. Their convention fees set between $250 to $500 per attendee, so that comes up to $375. And of course, their tech fees at $200 annual, and this up to comes out to $2,400. So your franchisor, just like the mafia, they're going to get paid first, right? So they're going to pay, they're going to take their $115,000. And this is a minimum, by the way. This is the minimum. This doesn't include like any transaction costs. This doesn't include like if they audit you or if you decide to transfer the franchise to another LLC, you got to pay for that. This is just the bare minimum of these 5 items here. So they're going to pay more than that. But keeping it simple here means that our median franchisee, after he pays his franchisor, has $1.1 million to work with. Okay, well, you know that you need $145,000 to get that 10% rate of return. So if you get that money first, like you're a 19th century business person, you're going to need the 145,000, which leaves you with $990,000 left to run the restaurant. That's it. And if you want that 20% return, then you're pulling out $500,000 off cash, and then you just only have $600,000 left to run a restaurant that grows this 1.25 million. Can you do that? Not too sure, but that's what the numbers are telling me. So if you want that 10% return, looks like you're going to easily do it. 20% return is going to be much more harder of a struggle. But I will say I've done enough in these analysis. Looks like Blaze Pizza is not a bad investment. Will require some work, but like I said, compared to others that I've seen, the median franchise definitely supports at least a 10% rate of return, probably a 15% or so. Y'all can go ahead and crunch the numbers now that you know how to. All right, John Thornton, Bookkeeper SA. You can contact me at john@bookkeepersa.com, or you can just go ahead and come to our website, Bookkeeper SA. Thank you.